What's up, guys? Welcome to this episode of Boost Brothers Garage. Today we are replacing the prone to what?
Prone to melt the car down in a blaze of glory.
Prone to catching the entire car on fire. Fuel lines that run along the headers. We're going to replace them with, what are we replacing them with?
Not Lindsay Racing. Large Porsche parts, braided fuel lines.
Yeah, what he said. As you can see, these fuel lines come up out of the fender and run up here to the fuel rails, and they're close enough to the header that, being rubber, sometimes they melt. What does that result in, Mike?
All the fuel spraying out at high pressure directly onto the header and starting a massive fire that's uncontrollable and burning the entire car down.
We don't run halon, so we need to replace those.
No, unfortunately, you got to pull out the inner fender to get to the fuel lines in the wheel well. So just trying to knock that out real quick, and then we can really start to get after it. We got the inner fender out. Here you can see the puny little naturally aspirated 944 calipers, our ground control coilovers, and this big chunky ass sway bar that we've got. But the reason we're down here is we need to take this clamp off and loosen this one, and then we can get access to pulling the lines up a little bit, and we have to feed the new fuel hoses down here and connect them here on the hard line.
Well, we finally got those clamps off, and it uses these stupid little plastic retaining bolts of some sort, and they're a 3.5 millimeter Allen key, which every Allen wrench set I have doesn't have 3.5 mil, so I ended up having to use a T20 Torx bit, but we got them off. I've also measured to make sure that we have the correct length for the fuel lines, and we do. We've got plenty of length. We can chop them down here, up here, wherever we want. So I'm gonna go up top now and do the required stuff up there. First thing we need to do here is disconnect and flip around this fuel pressure regulator. And the reason that we're gonna flip the regulator around is so that the fuel hose, instead of being routed up this way, it routes this way, and that way we get it away from the heat of the headers. Now that it's unbolted, we should be able to pry it off. We're going to take the new fuel line for this side. We're going to do one hose at a time, which is what the instructions say. This is to make sure that you don't put the hose on the wrong line, although they're different diameters, so I'm not sure how you could do that anyway. But this end of the hose is just a standard rubber line in there with this clamp, so nothing special. We've got it seated in there well. Tighten the clamp down, and then we will run the rest of this line down through the hole in the inner fender. When we get back under the car here, you can see that there's plenty of line. We could cut all the way down here if we wanted to. We're not going to do that though. We're going to cut this tube right around here and leave ourselves some extra. So you just take your little tubing cutter here, like you'd use for plumbing, and we'll peel this back and we'll cut it. Well, that took long enough. I've gone ahead and taken the coupling off the hose. This is just a flared end by compression coupling. So your compression ferrule goes around the tube, and as you tighten all this together, it clamps this around the tube, and that's what seals everything. So we'll put this on the tube first, and then we'll connect the hose to this. Now that the compression fitting is on and tight and not going anywhere, we can screw the hose on. You shouldn't have to use any Teflon tape or anything like that here because this is a flared connection. I just decided to be smart and wait to do that until I get the other line cut and compression fitting and everything on. Otherwise, I'm not gonna have any room to do that. So we'll wait to connect that. We'll jump back up under the hood and we'll do that other side, drop it down, measure, cut, install. Here's your other line. This is your fuel pressure dampener hose. We're gonna disconnect this nut right here, pull this line off, then we can cut it below. I'll go ahead and install the new one up here at the same time as well. All right, this line's all connected, tight. Run it down through the inner fender like the other. And then the rest of the work will be done under the car. We now have both couplings on and we have the lines fed through. This line is for the fuel pressure regulator, which goes to the left, and your other line goes to the right side. That's the larger diameter tube. So we'll connect these up real quick and then we'll go up top and look at our hose routing. Now that that's done, you can see that our fuel lines are routed in a much better way, away from the heat of the headers, and should be quite a bit safer. So I'll just take a minute and zip tie them up, keep them out of the way even more, and we're done. Finished product, nice, new, braided, much safer lines, away from the heat of the headers as much as possible. I now feel better that we're not gonna die in a fiery crash at Mid-Ohio. That's it. Easy, simple, how to install braided fuel lines on a 944 for dummies. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.